It's time for Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. Sully's College Football Page is brought to you by the Hilltop Bar, Advantage Insurance, Tommy's Express Car Wash, Dwayne's Cover It All, Buck's Golf Shop, Jim Creeshock Jewelry, Big Fat Design, Sun Printing, Hot Nose, the Eye Clinic of Wisconsin, Peterson Kramer Funeral Home, Menstner Hardwoods, Krasowski Dental, the Cloverbelt Credit Union, April Rosebergy EXP Realty, France Propane, Subway, Webco of Wausau, the Kuhn Hearing Center, Carmelo's and Rip Mountain Golf Course, Joe Rader Towing, the Dirks Group, the Intermission Lounge, the Brokaw Credit Union, Champion Insurance, Trap River Golf Club, Central Wisconsin School of Ballet, Red Clover Market, Mountain Bay Auto Care, Charlie's Bar, the People State Bank, the Mint Cafe, North End Pub, and the Travel Leaders. It's time now for Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO. And good morning and welcome to another edition of Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. And of course, you can always get the show as well by going to youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel. I am Chad Holmes, joined by Sully himself, Dan Sullivan. Good morning, Sul.
Hey, Chad, how you doing, man?
Another not really a football feeling morning weather-wise. It's staying warm into October. Another warm day, but still another great day for a big day of college football.
Oh, yeah. You know, and these bright Saturday fall mornings in Wisconsin, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
More like a summer morning, though.
Yeah, well,
but I think it might be the last one. I think starting next week we'll get some real football weather, hopefully, sooner rather than later.
I'm okay with the real football weather on Saturday and Sunday, but it can go back to this on Monday.
There you go. But plenty to talk about coming up today. We'll talk about what went on in college football last week. We'll talk about the Badgers in Michigan and the rest of what's happening this week. We'll have a whole bunch of rankings from the FCS to the Group of Five to the Power Four, and really a lot. And of course, we can't forget the 10-game challenge as well coming up at the start of hour number 2. So again, the plate is full here for this Saturday morning, taking you right up the kickoff. And of course, one of the kickoffs at 11 o'clock is Wisconsin and Michigan today on Fox. But let's start off by talking about what happened last week in the Big Ten Conference. The good news was that the Badgers did not lose.
They did not lose. That's always the good thing about a bye when you're struggling.
There were a number of teams that had byes last week, but let's talk about the teams that were on the field. And let's talk about, I think, one of the more intriguing games going into the week was what would Ohio State do making that long trip to Seattle to take on Washington. And boy, Ohio State right now, the thing that kind of jumps out is they're not giving up points to really good teams. I mean, they gave up only 7 to Texas, and then they go out west on the road and give up just 6 to Washington and win 24-6.
Yeah, and the thing that we didn't talk about enough last week was that Washington had won 22 in a row at home. And so you're making that cross-country trip to play a team that had not lost at home in a few years. And I'll tell you, that game was a battle the first half. I mean, Ohio State struggled with them, but they are really good. And, the old adage, defense travels, and I'll tell you, they brought the D with them and found a way in that game against a very difficult and challenging opponent in Washington.
I really, I'm not over the years been a huge Ohio State fan. Just, the way their fans are so national championship or bust. I mean, Ryan Day was on his way out until he won the national championship last year. But I have to say, it is actually refreshing to see a number 1 ranked team that is winning on the back of their defense. You don't see that very often anymore, do we?
No, I think a lot of teams nowadays want to, outscore people. And I can tell you,
Ohio State was one of those for a while here too.
oh yeah, about 8 or 9 years ago, we were doing the show, but we were at Buffalo Wild Wings, and it was a Saturday
I shudder thinking about it, but continue.
Yeah.
Climbing those that ladder to try to get set up.
Oh yeah, that was at Milwaukee Burger.
Oh, you had a show at Buffalo Wild Wings too?
No, but
okay. You're right.
So anyway, we were talking to some guys from Florida. Were up here for a couple weeks, and they were working with one of our firms here, the lawyers, and they. When you watch a football game with them, I think the Florida faithful would rather lose a game 50-49 than win a game 9 or 10-9. Mm-hmm. They just wanted points,
entertainment, basically.
Yeah, and it was kind of bordering on bizarre, but nonetheless, when you say people want to outscore their opponents nowadays, SC would probably be the best example of that in the Big Ten. Put the points up, win the game.
It felt like there were a few years ago where the entire Big 12 conference was like that.
Yes. Oh, that's a fact.
But yes. It seems like the defenses have started to swing just a little bit here in recent years. It got to a point where all those games almost seemed like they were, in the 40s and the 50s. But now it does seem like defense is making a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, well, they would come out in these spreads and people are playing 52s or they're playing 43s. Nowadays, a nickel package is basically the base defense to deal with all of the passing that goes on. And so I think you're right, Chad, when you say that. The defenses have now caught up and they're better able to deal with spreads and other kinds of things that you would see people spread you out and then try to run inside or whatever. And so the defenses now are pretty much able to recognize things much quicker pre-snap.
Absolutely. Well, the struggles continue for UCLA. They fell at Northwestern by a score of 17-14. Big win for Northwestern and their head coach, David Braun.
Yes.
He's starting to get a little bit of heat. This will maybe take it down just a little bit. But UCLA, and I think I mentioned this maybe last week, that when you replace your coach, there's a couple of ways of it goes about. It gives you a spark, or basically everybody tunes out and knows that the season's basically over. And I have a feeling that this may be one of those latter cases with UCLA. I just don't see there's going to be much of a chance of life for UCLA until they get past this season to decide who's going to be the next head coach of the program.
Well, Ilam Aliava, their quarterback, is already...
Boy, talk about mistakes, huh?
Yeah,
he really took a wrong deep turn.
$2.5 million to $1 million. And there's a lot of chatter about him already being in the portal. It's going to be because you can enter now when your coach is dismissed. Yep. You can proceed, and so there's changes coming there again, Chad, and UCLA is going to have to take a breath. And try to get this right, because over the years, this has been a very good college football program.
It was an interesting game in Iowa City because when you see Indiana and Iowa, if you said before the game it was going to be a game where it's in the teens and the winning team would have 20 points, you think that's the kind of game that Iowa would like to play.
Well, yes.
But Indiana found a way, and I think that's an impressive win for Cignetti and that group. They showed they don't have to be one of those high-scoring games to win on the road in the Big Ten against a quality opponent. That's a huge win for Indiana. It's 20-15.
Yeah, and that game came down. It was 13-13, and then with about inside of 3, I think, Iowa missed that field goal, and then Indiana found a way to get down the field and kick it. And, and ended up getting up at that point 16 or 18-15 or 18-13 or what. Maybe they scored a touchdown there because they had 18. And then, the game ended with them running the ball back into their end zone from about the 35-yard line to take the safety to use up time on the clock. So, yeah, it was not a high-scoring affair, not the thing that Cignetti likes to get into. It was more of a Farron's game, And you know what? Indiana showed they can play in that too. And now people are saying they are a legitimate threat. And we're going to find out next week because they go to Oregon.
Has to be real quickly about Iowa. Incredibly frustrating because the two losses they have were both games they could have won. Iowa State and now Indiana. The difference between being a team that's looked at as a potential playoff team and now a team that really has their back against the wall. Very, very thin line for Iowa.
Yeah, and offensively, the margin of error for their defense is so small because they just don't score points. And so as a result, they did what they needed to do to beat Indiana. But, Indiana just kept battling them. And, with Iowa, with the run game or generating turnovers, which they did, every time that happened, the Indiana D stepped up and got a stop or held them to field goal.
Also last week in the Big Ten Conference, it was Minnesota beating Rutgers 38-28. And Minnesota, again, is doing what Minnesota does. It seems like they always have a pretty good team, but not good enough to be at that next level. They had that loss against California, and who knows, maybe they will be able to put it together something. But again, and I don't think that's a terrible thing. Not everybody is going to be Ohio State. I can seriously doubt that Minnesota is spending the same money that on football that Ohio State and Michigan and USC and Oregon. In this era, is that good enough? Is it good enough just to be a pretty good football program? At Wisconsin, it wasn't because they wanted to take that next level and go the wrong direction. I think Minnesota is, the roll of the boat thing, whatever. But you got to give Fleck, I think, credit. He's got a pretty solid program there, doesn't he?
I'll tell you what, the Badgers had beaten Minnesota like 15 times out of 16 games since Fleck has come, since PJ's gotten there. They're either up one on the Badgers or tied. So he has done, first of all, with your primary rival, he has evened that out. That is a rivalry game, and it is no longer a gimme. I would not be surprised, though, Chad, to see him pursue that UCLA job. I know
there's those rumbles.
Oh, yeah. A few years ago, he really felt that he had done what he could at Minnesota, given some of the things that you just talked about, how much money they're willing to spend there, what's the perception, the imagery of the program, how well can you recruit to that part of the country. So I think he is looking, and I'm with you. He hasn't done a good job. He has done a really good job with that Minnesota program.
Also, last week, Illinois, man, after their disaster against Indiana 2 weeks ago, they had a pretty good lead. USC came back, and then Illinois wins it on a last-second field goal. For Illinois, that was a massive win because once you start going the wrong direction, it can be hard to turn around that big ship. And for Illinois, just a massive win. And for USC, it looked like they were trying to work their way back into the conversation near the top of the Big Ten, and that's a big loss.
Yeah, and Altmaier, the quarterback for Illinois, I thought he played an outstanding game. And that was one of those games, Chad, where, I watched the majority of it, and you really had the feeling whoever has the ball last in this game is probably going to win. And SC scored maybe a minute and a half to go to take the lead. And, man, here comes Illinois right down the field, score, and then they end up getting a huge win. And what a great win for Bielema after that debacle in Bloomington to get the kids ready to go. And against a team that, you haven't got time to feel sorry for yourself when you're playing them because they don't care and they're going to put points on the board. And I thought Illinois really showed a lot of mantle, stepping up and getting after them.
And then finally, the game in Happy Valley, Oregon and Penn State. And for a while, it looked like it was going to be just a continuation for sure of the issues that Penn State has against top-ranked teams. They made the comeback.
They did.
Got it back to overtime. And then in the end, Oregon wins, and all the James Franklin questions start again. But in terms of the game, double overtime win for Oregon, 30-24. Massive, massive win for Oregon. I mean, you talk about a game that really puts a team in position. That's the game, right?
Yeah, honestly, the way that the The Nittany Lions played in the fourth quarter. Chad, I would have bet $1 to a donut that's how they were going to start the game. I thought that Penn State was going to come out with a lot of urgency, was going to bring a lot of emotion, all the things that they've heard about their coach, all the things about their record against ranked and top-ranked teams. I thought they were going to come out and jump them. That didn't even appear until the fourth quarter. And so the fact that they got in another big game, and, you really, personally, I felt bad for them. I was hoping they would find a way in that game. And I fully expected they would get that running game going with those two great backs they've got. And then, you were really hopeful the quarterback, would step up, Allard, and really have a good game. And then, of course, the game ends like the Notre Dame game ends on a pick. So, yeah, it was a very difficult loss. But as Yogi Berra used to say, it ain't over until it's over.
Well, I mean, there's one thing we learned last year is now with this new system where it used to be where every loss could be the end of it.
Right.
Now we saw last year with what happened to Ohio State that, they thought it was all over after Michigan. Well, you lose that game, Penn State's going to have another opportunity. They're not out of it by any means. So you're exactly right on that respect. Let's before we take a break, and that's all the action from last week in the Big Ten. There were some games that were played earlier already here this weekend, Thursday and Friday. Any of the games that jumped out that you've been watching last couple of nights?
I am now drawing a blank as to what I watched because it was late last night. I know to this point there were 9 games.
Well, let me bring up some of the games because I think that in terms of maybe big picture, West Virginia and Rich Rodriguez struggling. They lost again to BYU. I mean, Rich Rod's lucky he got that Pittsburgh comeback. Otherwise, it's been pretty tough so far.
I'll tell you what. Thanks for that. That game, West Virginia could not stop BYU. I think BYU had gotten out like 31 to 8 or something, and then West Virginia got it back to 31 to 17, and you thought, oh, well, maybe. And then, BYU just marched right down the field and scored again. And I believe they scored another, they had another either field goal or touchdown after that. So they just could run the ball, and West Virginia simply could not stop the run, which we always say, you want to win in college football, run the ball, stop the run.
Also, maybe before we do take the break, another games that interesting. San Diego State, they had that big win in Cal. They look like they're starting to build something because they were 3-9 last year. Looks like they're taking a step forward, and they should take a step forward. Yeah. I mean, it's a great place to live, San Diego, but it does look like maybe they're finally getting a foundation.
Well, that's Sean Lewis.
Yep.
And he's an Illinois boy. I think he's from Naperville or one of those DeKalb Page or DeKalb Valley conference, really good football conference. But he was at Wisconsin for a few years and has done good work everywhere he's been. So you're happy for him. That 34-0 score against California, where that came from. And then last week they beat Northern Illinois 6-3, and now they come out and win again. So they are on a 3-game win streak at least, and look like they're going to put themselves in position, Chad, to make some noise in the Mountain West.
So that's a peek at what happened last week in the Big Ten. A couple of interesting games as well early this week as in the college football world as well. Coming up, we're going to look ahead to this week. Of course, the Badgers getting set to take on Michigan. We'll talk about that and the rest of the Big Ten Conference coming up next here on Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO.
Choose an agency with true 5G coverage. Advantage Insurance of Wausau. Great companies, great agents, great service, great rates, and great claims results. At Advantage Insurance, they support our local community and back you always. Call Advantage Insurance today for all of your insurance needs, or go to AdvantageInsuranceWausau.com. They offer top-rated coverage and the best agents that provide you a true 5G experience for the best total coverage for all your insurance needs.
Chief, we've got a situation.
What is it?
Trouble at the naval base, sir. I'll put it on the screen.
Jiminy Christmas, what happened to all our boat covers?
That's not the worst of it, sir.
No!
Afraid so, sir.
Not the boat upholstery, too. All those holes? It looks like Swiss cheese.
It's funny you mention that, sir. We found the culprit.
All right, Mouse, who are you working for? The Russians? Take him to the brig and get Agent Dwayne from CIA on the horn now.
Dwayne's covered off. Dwayne speaking.
Agent Dwayne, your country needs you. A terrorist mouse has chewed up every single boat cover and piece of upholstery in the Navy.
I'll patch up what I can and replace what I can.
Agent Dwayne, you're a great American.
Just doing my job.
Boat covers, seat upholstery, camper, deck, or patio awnings. When you need something covered or upholstered, call the CIA. Dwayne's Cover It All. Commercial accounts are welcome. Call or email Dwayne. Visit Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com.
Tommy's Express Car Wash at 102 Bridge Street in Wausau and 1611 Schofield Avenue in Weston has the tools and experience to keep your car clean inside and out. Our wash packages let you pay for the services you want, including Tommy Garden Body Wax, wheel cleaning and tire gloss, an underbody flush and spot-free rinse. Give your vehicle the cleaning it deserves at Tommy's Express at 102 Bridge Street in Wausau and 1611 Schofield Avenue in Weston.
It takes a lot to impress us at Jim Krishock Jewelers. I mean, we see gorgeous diamonds, gemstones, and incredible jewelry every day that we've chosen for our selection. But when a diamond jewelry line like this one comes along, well, our eyes really widen up and our mouths drop open and our hearts beat a little faster. Yours will too when you stop in and check out our Fire and Ice collection of diamonds and diamond jewelry. Their slogan is bigger, brighter, whiter. And it's a difference you can see, which is the most important. Each Fire and Ice diamond is cut to maximize the performance of light coming into and leaving the diamonds to create amazing sparkle and brilliance. So whether you're planning on getting engaged or upsizing your current diamond, or just want something completely new with more sparkle and dazzle than you've ever seen before, stop in and check out our Fire and Ice collection. It's exclusively available right here at Jim Krishock Jewelers at our one and only location on Rib Mountain Drive in Wausau.
Joe Rader Towing in Wausau offers 24-hour-a-day towing, blackout service, and roadside assistance throughout central Wisconsin. You can count on Joe Rader's experienced team to get to you fast. Family owned and operated. When you need a tow, call Joe at 715-212-4762.
The Intermission Bar, located in the heart of downtown Wausau, is a warm, friendly, comfortable spot to enjoy time with old friends and meet new ones as well. Free live music 3 nights a week featuring some of the Midwest's finest talent. The Intermission, a social establishment.
And welcome back. It is Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. With Sully, I'm Chad Holmes, and we are, about an hour and 37 minutes away to see if the Badgers can turn things around starting today as they take on the Michigan Wolverines. It's time to look at what's going on with that game and the rest of the Big Ten Conference here on this first Saturday of October. And again, as you get further into the season, you get into October, the games start to have more and more meaning, don't they?
Well, they do. And, you know, the thing we were talking about off air is that most Wisconsin fans, and I mean, not your diehard, but your average, someone who cheers for the Badgers weekly, would be surprised when we tell them that the last 8 times these teams have played, the Badgers have won 5. They actually have a winning record. And the last time they were in the Big House, they beat the Wolves like 49-13 or something. They just pounded them. So, I guess, you second guessing is kind of a weak man's game, but I think that you had a very successful program. Even the SEC folks that I hear, they're saying, well, Wisconsin used to be good, but and the reality here is you got another shot today, and that's why you play the
Yeah.
game. And, we'll see what happens. But in the short term, the last 8 games, we certainly have been competitive as we have a winning record against them.
For Wisconsin today, it's about seeing some sort of identity to be able to start running the ball a little bit, start to do something, because whether it's been the traditional pillars of Wisconsin football, running the football, being good up front, defense, even the defense has taken, I think, a step back this year. I mean, it's just there was nothing that you could really hang your hat on against Maryland. You need to see something. I give the fan base, give the coaching staff, give the players something to build on. And there was really nothing up to this point this season. Even the games they won were not, they didn't blow you away in terms of what they were able to do. You got to get something to hang your hat on going into a very tough stretch.
Oh, yeah. You're going into one of the most difficult environments in all of college football. I think that when you talk about the Badgers, they kind of were the poster child for complimentary football. They would have these mamoos on the line. They'd find somebody in New Jersey who turned out to be a star running back, and then they would roar at you. And then, the defense, because of the way we played offense, the defense typically was rested. And, they were talking with their coaches and getting themselves mentally prepared for what, their opponents may be doing in the next series. Now, there's a lot of 3 and outs. And so, the defense is scrambling to get back on the field. And it's just been a comedy of errors that, and then the quarterbacks, to 3 years in a row, you bring in somebody from the portal, which, by the way, we all know that that's not sustainable. And you have to get a position like that that's so critical.
Yeah, it really is so difficult. And that's one of the things about this era, too, because it would, and I was actually thinking about this, because my thought is, hey, bring in somebody you're going to say as maybe a high school recruit, say, you're going to be our guy. You're going to be, we're going to build you up. But the problem is, if he does turn into your guy, you may have the same problem of him taking off then. So there's not an easy answer here right now. That's why what I think coaches and the new general managers that some of these programs have, the job is just incredibly difficult.
Well, they used to say, which I thought was relatively brain dead. They used to say, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Nowadays, it's flipped with the NIL and the financial recruiting tools that are available at some of these schools. If you don't have 3 quarterbacks, you don't have any, because you don't know how long they're going to be around, and you're going to have to focus on making sure you get the right person, and then you got to compensate them. The University of Wisconsin,
you got to keep them happy.
Yeah, you do. And, they're 17, 18, 19, they're coming in, and certainly not a majority, but there are some who are coming here who are making more money than the president of the university, and so the reality is we need a quarterback. We need to get that, established. And then, Chad, you're going to have to keep him happy.
One real fast point to wrap it up. I do chuckle when you say, well, maybe they're making more than the president of the university. Well, coaches get mad because they're the only people that are supposed to be making all that money.
Yeah, well,
I got, because it used to be where the coaches were getting all that money, and I thought that was ridiculous. So now they're upset because somebody else is getting the money.
Honestly, I read like an evolution of coaching salaries, and they were talking about this. Started with the NCAA when they went to those video games. And they started raking in all this money. Well, then the coaches looked at it and said, whoa, wait a minute. I'm the one that's putting these kids on the field. Where's my cut? Well, then, so then time goes on. And I want to say, Chad, in 43 states, the highest paid public official is a coach. It's not the governor. It's not the attorney. It's the basketball, men's basketball, or men's football or football coach that's raking in all this money. Then the kids said, whoa, wait a minute. We're the ones taking the risks. You're using our name, image, and likeness. where's our cut? And so this thing is just
Well,
evolved.
we got to get to the rest of the games, but coming up later at some point, I'm going to bring up the news of the week with the Big Ten Conference and a $2 billion private equity deal that they're considering.
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
Yeah, it's B.
Oh, this is getting just insane. But let's move back to the games because that's where the fun is. We'll keep it here east of the Mississippi for this segment. Illinois and Purdue. Illinois, of course, 4-1, 1-1. Purdue 2-2, 0-1. You mentioned the Badgers' recent success against Michigan. Purdue has struggled big time recently, but they're still, they've been good against Illinois over the past couple of decades, even with the struggles generally.
Yeah, I think they've won 15 in the last 22, and they currently lead the series, which is very close, 48-46. Illinois back in the 50s, 40s, and then on into the era of Dick Butkus, in the 60s. They were still going to the Rose Bowl. They would kind of dominate Purdue, but I'll tell you, not since the 60s, the latter part of it, when you had one of my guys that I'm always yelling about, Leroy Keys, not getting the Heisman, or Bobby Greasy. And then Purdue has been the better program, I think, since the late 60s coming forward. And, the Illini have won one game in the last 4 or 5, and that was that wild 50-49 game.
I think this should be a trophy game. You know who should be on the trophy? Jeff George.
Jeff George,
he started at Purdue and he went to Illinois, and then became a number 1 overall draft pick and had a long career, even though people consider him disappointing because he was a bit of a head case.
Yeah, he had a great arm, as I remember.
He had a great arm, but he was like the number 1 recruit. He went to Purdue, but then after a year, he got mad and he went to Illinois. Had a pretty good career there. So the Jeff George Trophy.
There you go.
All right. Also, Minnesota and Ohio State. And we were talking about Minnesota. This is one of those games where they have an opportunity to make a big statement. It's not going to be easy at the Horseshoe. They've struggled big time against Ohio State over the years. But for Minnesota, at the very least, if you're Minnesota, you want to be competitive.
Chad, that might be the kindest thing you ever said about them struggling so much. They've lost 13 straight. They've lost 29 of the last 30, and the overall series is 47-7. So I realize you're a kind person, Chad, and that came out in that. But yeah, they have really struggled with these guys. But who hasn't? Everybody in the Big Ten, with maybe the lone exception of Michigan, who does have a winning record against them, everybody struggles with Ohio State.
Was the last time that Minnesota beat Ohio State, was that the year Holtz was coach? I for some reason, I remember him having some big upset back then, and that helped him get the Notre Dame job. But I could be mistaken.
I think the last time that the Bucks won, or the Golden Gophers won this game, was 2000.
Okay, that was well after that.
Yeah, and then you'd have to go back another 32 years when they won in 68. I think the game you might be thinking about was when Holtz was at Arkansas, and they beat Oklahoma in a game that got him on Notre Dame's radar.
You're right. It was not Holtz beating Ohio State. He was 0-2 against Ohio State. And
he has Ohio State ties, Lou does.
Yeah. Sometimes, I should research before opening the mouth.
No. I mean, when you said that, I thought, yeah, maybe.
I know they had one. Maybe it was Michigan. I have to go back. Now my history head is starting to swim around.
Yeah.
But and then Washington and Maryland. And again, this is a very really intriguing matchup. You got Maryland's off to a fantastic start this season.
Yes.
You got Washington, who was off to a great start. And again, it shows that in the Big Ten Conference, you think, well, losing to Ohio State's not a bad thing. It's hard. But then you have another tough game across the country the very next week.
Yeah, and when you look at this, these teams have never met as Big Ten opponents. And they've only played once. They played in it was the 1981 season, 82. It was an inaugural bowl game, the Aloha Bowl. It was the first one ever they played, and great game. Washington ended up winning that one 21-20. But I don't think we can overstate how big of a game this is for Maryland. If Loxley can get this done, Chad, they have 5 wins. We talked about a good season for them to get bowling,
And the first week of October to be a pretty good start.
Yes, absolutely. So this is a must-watch game. It's on
Big Ten Network.
Yeah, 2:30. Yep.
And real quickly, forgot to mention the Minnesota Ohio State game, Peacock and NBC at 6:30, Wisconsin, Michigan on Fox at 11, Illinois, Purdue, Big Ten Network at 11 as well. And Rutgers has a bye for the teams east of the Mississippi. We're going to come back and talk about the teams west of the Mississippi coming up after a timeout. It's Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO.
I only travel once or twice a year, but when I do, I go big. Exotic places, incredible hotels, new experiences. It has to be memorable. That's why I call Travel Leaders of Wausau. They get me, and they take care of all the details, so I don't have to worry about a thing.
Travel Leaders gets you, and we get you there. Travel better. Call Travel Leaders of Wausau at 715-355-4437.
And can't forget the sandals. And the right sunglasses.
Hello, my name is Steve Brickner. Here at Brickner Motors in Little Chicago, we'll help you order your brand new Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, or Jeep and get it equipped the way you want it and the color you've always dreamed of. That means you won't overpay for something you don't want. Quality vehicles and competitive prices are what keep people coming back again and again. Make the drive out to Brickner Motors on Little Chicago's northeast side and let our family take care of your family.
You can count on us. Yes, you can.
The Kuhn Hearing Center is a family-owned and operated hearing care facility located at 1699 Schofield Avenue, Suite 106 in Schofield. Dr. Tim Kuhn has been practicing audiology in the greater Wausau-Weston area for 26 years. Dr. Kuhn works closely with several audiology agencies, including Signia Hearing Aids and Accessories, which provides access to the latest and most advanced technologies in the hearing industry. For more info, check them out online at kuhnhearing.com or call 715-298-5511.
Big Fat Designs can give your company the cutting-edge look it needs to attract customers and stand out from the rest. From websites and print designs to logos and letterheads, Big Fat Designs is your effective and affordable marketing solution. E-commerce, online customer database, video and audio players, Big Fat Designs does it all. And the best part, you deal with someone locally to talk with, to meet with, working hands-on towards your success. Big Fat Designs in Wausau. Find out more online at bigfatdesigns.com.
And welcome back. It is Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO. Got to say hello to Ian across the way. It's always good to see him over there.
See his smiling face every Saturday.
Morning, Chad.
Morning,
Sully.
And in 2 weeks, we're going to get him and his dad to do the 10-game challenge, right?
Yeah, well, Buck has been a sponsor of the show since we started. I've been a highly valued guy. And he's going to bring a lot of expertise, that guy, because, he's won state championships as a golf coach and been a golf pro for many years.
But I expect Ian to beat both Buck and you in 2 weeks.
Well,
It would definitely be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, well, beating me has been kind of the way the world works. But I'm not sure about whether Ian's going to be able to handle Buck.
Well, I expect him to, so you better be ready. You better do some studying of college football that week. So
make sure I do some research. I got my Badger shirt on today.
There you go. There you go.
And by the way, the Badgers are going to pull it off.
There you have it.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he's not taking the challenge today because they'd probably be 0-1 then.
Yeah.
But always good to have Ian pushing the buttons over on the other side of the glass.
Happy to be here.
And real quick, so we do know geography, right?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
For those people that are screaming at their radio or computer, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, well,
we're talking west and east of the Mississippi.
We are. And we also know math. And so we decided that
to move Wisconsin and Illinois on that side of the river.
We have, and we're just saying that one of those tributaries that run, off the Mississippi into Illinois, we just said, okay, well, Northwestern and Wisconsin are west of that. And so But the bottom line was, for those who are wondering about our geographic knowledge, we wanted to get it 9-9 so we could balance the talks.
Well, let's talk about the teams of the eastern part of the Big Ten Conference. Maybe just take away the Mississippi and just say the eastern part. Or I should say the western part. I'm getting all completely.
Yeah, now we're
talking about the western part now. Penn State and UCLA, a game that's being played at the Rose Bowl, CBS at 2:30. And the road team, Penn State, 24.5-point favorite. There's really no reason to think that's a low number because of the way UCLA has played. Nothing about UCLA, and we'll talk about Penn State, and they're trying to bounce back from the Oregon loss. But for UCLA, they really look like they had found something late last year, and it just faded away in the mist, hasn't it?
Yeah, and they brought in a high-powered quarterback, or at least so they thought, and
a high-paid quarterback.
Yeah, well, that's better said. Although he did take a cut in pay, so the bottom line with them is there's no reason that they're in this situation. This program over the years has access to excellent athletes. California, and then you got Arizona and some areas around the state. Utah, surprisingly, has excellent high school football. So there's plenty of access to players, and it's just a little mystery as to why this has been such a struggle.
Mm-hmm. And what about Penn State? That was a tough loss. I mean, this is not the easiest situation. You just know they poured everything into that game last week. And like I said about Washington, another cross-country trip. This is a challenging game. Even though you look at the teams, you think, oh, well, if there's a game where you may expect them to come out maybe a little slowly, this might be the one.
Yeah, and you're not sure how the kids are responding here. Their coach is getting just beat up. The fan base is calling for his resignation, even though the guy wins about 83% of his games.
But show them the buyout number, then they'll be.
Yeah, well, that has always been something quite frankly, I don't know why the schools negotiate that. I know they're trying to stay competitive, and so they can get a guy in. And
the thing I find real quickly that I really find odd about that is they have this huge buyout number, and yet these coaches find a way to move if they want to move. So I understand that, if you have a contract that they should get paid, but they should also have a contract. They shouldn't be looking around for the next job either. So
yeah, well,
but that's a different conversation.
It just makes no sense that you pay a guy like Jimbo Fisher $87 million to fail. And
at the same time, though, you shouldn't give away 10-year contracts. So
yeah, well, so my point is, I don't know who negotiates that nonsense, but that's the best thing I can say about it.
Well, you got to get a good attorney and lawyer or agent and, get a better deal here.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Give you a 20-year contract and a big buyout.
College football, in my opinion, has no idea where they're going with this.
That's why they're going to go to $2 billion private equities.
Well, by 2035, that $20.8 million they're paying this year to athletes is going to go to $34.7 million. So how is this sustainable? Maybe Ohio State's, but even some of the schools in the Southeast Conference, Chad, they're not going to be able to keep pace with this. They just don't have the revenue.
Michigan State and Nebraska, both 3-1, 0-1 in the conference. And I think this is a big game for your guy, Matt Rule, because you can't lose another home game in conference, can you?
No, absolutely not. And I'll tell you, Jonathan Smith, Michigan State's new coach, he's dangerous.
Yeah.
That guy knows how to win games. And, he's only going to get better because he's going to be recruiting better players. And this guy develops his players. So if you can get those 3.5 stars or whatever constellation they are in and pay them, and then continue to develop them, given the movement and the dependency on some of these 5 stars who are looking to better themselves, you could end up with a core, and those kids get to their senior years. These teams could actually be not only able to beat some of these other teams, but they would actually be better
over the years, I've actually found Michigan State to be very similar to Wisconsin in terms of with the way they built their programs and trying to beat some of the so-called, elite Michigans, Ohio States by using, like you say, developmental programs and having maybe a bit of an edge up front and along those lines. And it looks like with John Smith that Michigan State is finding that again while Wisconsin's still searching for it.
Yeah, and Chad, Michigan State back in the 60s was one of the first Big Ten schools that actually went out and recruited Americans of Afro descent. They went and got them.
Bubba Smith,
Charles Thornhill, George Webster, the kid from Jimmy Ray was a black quarterback. Clinton Jones was one of the great runners in Big Ten history.
To play for the Vikings.
Yeah, Gene Washington was a great receiver. Yeah. And so there was a time when Michigan State simply had better athletes. But then along came George Perlis and some other, Duffy Doherty left. And then,
it may have been, we may have to change because a guy named Bo Schembechler came to Michigan.
Yeah, well, him too. And I think that they just, had a struggle. They became the second team. I mean, Saban was there, and that's a pretty good coach.
But he decided, he wanted to. It was too hard.
Well,
I think that's what it was. I mean, that's one thing. Whenever we're getting way off a tangent here, but instead of him winning a national championship at Michigan State, which they got to the playoff, they got darn close. He decided to take the easy route, which I guess you shouldn't say it's the easy route. We're going to LSU when he's playing Alabama and those schools, but at the same time, it was a situation where I always would have been curious how he would have done if he would have stayed at Michigan State.
And if you look at his thinking when he went to Alabama, that was the first school in the state of Alabama, not Auburn.
And Louisiana State.
Yeah, LSU was the only really, blue blood. So. And
speaking of Louisiana, as we get back onto the focus here, the final game is Louisiana Monroe, not the number one school in Louisiana, taking on Northwestern, and Northwestern a chance for a 2-game winning streak.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Northwestern has an opportunity today. They have never played UL Monroe or ULM. There you go.
Too many letters.
Yeah, well, they've never played them. And in fact, I was a little surprised to see that Northwestern has never played a Sunbelt school. They have not played them over the years. So a couple things going on that you don't normally see. And how about this? If they can win this game today, after 5 games, Northwestern will have a winning record, which I think hats off to them because they have several hurdles that other people don't have. And so I'm really hoping they can get this done today.
All right, we're going to take a timeout, come back, and start into the rankings. We'll start with the FCS coming up. That's straight ahead here on Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO.
Thinking about changing to organic or natural foods? Then you need to stop at Red Clover Market at the Total Rental location in Weston. Family-owned Red Clover Market, your healthy natural food store. Open Monday through Saturday.
Looking for a part for your vehicle? Look to Hilltop Auto Wrecking in Wausau. Hilltop Auto Wrecking can help you find just about any part you need for your car, truck, or SUV. They have a great selection of auto glass and tires with lots of sizes ready to go. Hilltop Auto Wrecking is always looking to buy vehicles, so if you're stuck with an older junker, they can haul it away for cash. Hilltop Auto Wrecking, family owned and operated for over 40 years at 237-934 Del Rio Road, formerly 6806 North 33rd Street, Wausau. Call 715-675-3258.
For more than 60 years, Sun Printing has been Central Wisconsin's commercial printer of choice due to their commitment to quality, creative solutions, and dedicated service. Sun Printing's team offers you a wide spectrum of services. Whether you need offset, digital, large format, graphic design, or mailing, they print everything under the sun. No project is too big or too small. So give Sun Printing a call at 845-4911 or visit them online at sunprinting.com.
Since 1981, Lopnos has been Wausau's favorite sports bar. Grab a bit of Wausau's past while you're watching your favorite sports teams at their historic turn-of-the-century establishment. Lopnos is the perfect place to catch all the sports action on their 15 enormous flat-screen TVs, enjoy a night on the town with friends, or have a celebration in their private party room. A great place for birthdays, anniversaries, clubs, or meetings. Lopnos, Wausau's oldest and finest sports bar, 3rd Street, Wausau.
For over 40 years, Champion Insurance has been helping business owners protect themselves. They also offer protection for your home, auto, and other personal assets as well. Local family owned and operated. Champion Insurance. They got you covered. Schofield Avenue, Schofield.
And welcome back. It is Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. And Ian, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but there is an echo. Huh.
All right, I don't know why that is. So again,
There's an echo because I turned on Sully's mic. So I'm not sure if that's probably
Well, if there's technology issues.
We're going to go back to the microphone, and you take me off that because I wanted to try this because we're having a microphone issue in our studio. But take me off the StreamYard, and we're going to go back. Okay.
Let's see.
So we are on now?
Yeah, we should be all good now. Yep.
Very good. Sully, let's go into some rankings here as we, again, when you have because we have a guest coming in, I thought maybe we could make a shortcut here and get us properly on, but apparently not. So we're going to continue here. Start with the FCS. And again, the FCS rankings. And just for folks who may be new to the program, you basically break down things into 3 different groups.
We do. I think if you look at what ESPN and what CBS and other sports, outlets do, is they focus on the NCAA determination of FBS, which is the Football Bowl subdivision, or FCS, which is the Football Championship subdivision. And the FCS, Chad, they go up to 63 scholarships, where now the FBS can go all the way up to 105. They don't have to, but they could have 105, and they're now called equivalent.
Don't.
As opposed to a head count, which is what they were under a year ago at 85. So nonetheless, we looked at that and said, well, wait a minute. When College Football Playoff Committee got formed and they started, those tournaments, which most people I don't think realize, the College Football Playoff is not an NCAA sanctioned event. It's an event outside that the NCAA allows it. They gave them permission to do it, but they don't run it. So we decided that there was a whole group of teams called the Group of 5 that had no real representation. Maybe. So what we did is we just started ranking 3 groups. The Power 4 now used to be the Power 5. The Group of 5, which I suppose now is the Group of 6. Mm-hmm. And then, the FCS. So you're right, Chad. We look at it and we end up, you and I, every Saturday talking about 60 teams.
Let's take the FCS top 15 here. And again, you can always go to the site, SullysCollegeFootballPage.com, for complete information on these teams and a whole bunch more. But we'll take groups of 3 here. We have number 15, Youngstown State from the Missouri Valley Football Conference. They're 3-1, and they got a big one coming up against South Dakota State.
Right.
I should say groups of 3 because we're behind. Youngstown State 15, Jackson State, who is 3-1, is from the SWAC. They're number 14, and Lehigh from the Patriot League is 5-0, and they're number 13.
Yeah, and so we kind of look across and see who's beating who, and one of the interesting things, the Ivy League doesn't play right away, but Lehigh played Yale recently. So the They play a very good schedule.
They beat Penn and they play Yale next.
Okay, I knew I saw Yale, but nonetheless, there is a big rivalry between the Patriot League and the Ivy League, and for the first time ever, the Ivy League is going to partake in the FCS tournament.
And they're also very, Patriot League. And the reason you say there's that rivalry is because they also have, it sounds like a slap to everybody else, but the academic aspect. I mean, Lehigh Engineers, I believe, that's an engineering school, which is really, really high level. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Fordham is in that league. Holy Cross is in that league. Lafayette's in that league. They really have some highly regarded academic institutions that are part of the Patriot.
All right. Then at number 12, it's Southern Illinois, who is 3-1 from the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Then you have Rhode Island, number 11 from the CAA. They're 4-1. And Montana State, again, a program we've talked a lot about over the years from the Big Sky. They are 3-2. One game I kind of jumped out from this group is Rhode Island and Brown. They're both from Providence. They're talking about a rivalry game. That's a rivalry game. And it's also a game where the ranked team has, in terms of Rhode Island, they, on the simulator, are expected to lose.
And they did. They played last night.
These Friday games.
Yeah, they did. There was 28-21, I believe.
So the simulator was right.
The simulator in this instance picked that. The boys and girls in the desert favored Rhode Island. And they typically would beat Brown. And that gets back to one of the things.
They're Ivy League team.
Yes, they are. And so, that game was played last night. And, the Salukis always are athletic. And I would say this, Montana State is without question, it's not arguable. They are the best 3-2 team in in the FCS. They lost to Oregon. They lost another game to South Dakota State in overtime. So, they can play.
Number 9, Monmouth. They're 3-1. Number 8, Illinois State. Boys, there's a lot of Missouri Valley Football Conference teams out there. Illinois State 3-1. They have North Dakota State coming up. And then number 7, Tennessee State. I should say Tennessee Tech, who is undefeated.
Yes, and that's the old Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Tech, UT Martin. Eastern Illinois was a very good league, but they just could not maintain enough teams, so they had to reconfigure, and they are now part of the Big South. It's the Big South, Ohio Valley. Illinois State, Monmouth, 2 real good programs. Illinois State especially, and as you say, they play in such a great league. That is, I don't think you could get some argument from the Big Sky, but I think in the end, most people would recognize the Missouri Valley Football Conference as the best in the FCS.
Number 6, undefeated West Georgia. They won the Battle of the Directions, 27-24 against Southern Utah. Number 5, Montana. Good win against Idaho, 41-30. They're still undefeated. And Presbyterian, number 4. They shut down Morehead State.
And we're kind of bringing Presbyterian along. They are in the Pioneer, which is a non-scholarship, and
which is pretty amazing. That's the success they're having, huh?
They're unbeaten. Now, they in fairness, they don't play necessarily the same difficulty of schedule. But, for them, as long as they keep winning, we're kind of saying they are what their record says they are. And right now it says they're 5-0.
Then you got number 3, Tarleton State. They are 5-0. South Dakota State, number 2, 4-0. North Dakota State, 4-0, number 1. 2 more Missouri Valley Football Conference teams in there. But, we how many years you've been doing this show, and these rankings is always South Dakota State and North Dakota State right there at the top, but Tarleton State's still right up there as well.
I'll tell you what, they look like they may be able to make some noise in this playoff. They've beaten some good teams. They beat Army, and so
that's a big win.
Oh, huge. And so, the reality is, if you can defend Army, you can probably defend South Dakota State, or at least, and North Dakota State, or at least make a claim that, hey, we're serious about this. So it's going to be fun to watch them as they go forward. But, like we mentioned, for the first time, we're going to get either a Yale or a Harvard or some of the potential Ivy League teams coming in, and they recruit well, Chad. I mean, they get some really highly skilled players who go there, obviously, because of the academics.
Absolutely. So, again, that is the FCS top 15. You can, again, get complete information on those teams and a whole bunch more by going to Sully's collegefootballpage.com. We will have the group of 5 top 20 coming up a little bit later on. And then, of course, the top 25 from the Power 4 to wrap things up later in the program. But we're halfway through, and we always start off the second hour with our 10-game challenge after the break. And who will we be talking to in a couple minutes?
We got one of the most knowledgeable football guys that we bring in, Ian Reese. Ian is the manager of intermissions down the road, or intermission, I should say, down the road. And he's a guy who studies college football. So I'm going to have you do the picking this time, Chad. You can.
Oh, come on.
That was a weak attempt.
That was you scared me for a moment, though. That's like, I like sitting back on the outside because nobody can say, boy, what a dumb pick that was. But no, we're going to have the 10-game challenge coming up next, starting off hour number 2 of Sully's College Football Page here on 98.9 WXCO.
Buck Welsh has been working in the golf business since 1976, became a PGA member in 1984, and has been teaching for over 40 years. His philosophy has always been to work with the individual golfer, building on the way they do things and making them better with what they have to work with. Call Buck at 715-581-2646 or check out the website www.bucksgolfshop.com to get more info about lessons.
Eye Clinic of Wisconsin believes that clear vision and hearing are priceless. Eye Clinic of Wisconsin is equipped to handle all your eye and hearing care needs. When you need specialty and surgical eye care, why not work with the best? Let the team of professionals at Eye Clinic of Wisconsin see you. Eye Clinic of Wisconsin has 7 convenient locations that include Wausau, Antigo, Medford, Merrill, Rhinelander, Stevens Point, and Wisconsin Rapids. Visit their Facebook page or website at www.eyeclinicwi.com. Eye Clinic of Wisconsin, one vision, yours.
As a proud member of the Wausau Marathon, Edgar, and Athens communities, Peterson Kramer Funeral Home has built a reputation for having a deep commitment to personal service. When you need compassionate concern and expert guidance day or night, Peterson Kramer Funeral Home is the one to call. You can trust them to take care of every detail at a time it matters most. Located in Wausau, Marathon, Edgar, and Athens, Peterson Kramer Funeral Home, friends you've trusted and depended on since 1914. Krasowski Dental offers the most effective cosmetic and neuromuscular dentistry procedures and treatments. When you walk through the doors, you'll experience an incredibly comfortable and pleasant atmosphere where you'll be treated like family. Krasowski Dental offers 24-hour emergency service and care so you don't have to wait, and offers many of the newest dental technologies and perks to make your dental experience comfortable and less stressful. Schedule your appointment now with Krasowski Dental, North 17th Avenue, Wausau.
Don't you just love a good football game? Don't you just love a new car or a new truck or a new motorcycle? And don't you just love saving money? Then you'll love Clover Belt Credit Union, your go-to team for saving money with a great rate vehicle loan. Great rates are what make Clover Belt the leader in vehicle loans. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, ATVs. If it's got a motor and it rolls on wheels, Clover Belt Credit Union has the great rate financing you want. Give us a call and we'll get your great rate loan rolling. Clover Belt Credit Union, your team for great rates.
The Dirks Group started in 1999 as an alternative to traditional IT service providers. From the start, they focused on customized solutions for the needs of each client. Today, they serve over 400 customers from locations in Wausau and Eau Claire. Go to dirksgroup.com for more information.
Charity's Bar in Marathon City. Great food, great service, a great place to meet friends. Come on down and watch the game or just hang out. It's Charity's Bar on County Road and in Marathon City.
Witness the difference at Newman Catholic Schools, where education is embraced by the Christian faith and students are held to a high standard of academic excellence. Schedule a tour and learn what it means to be a Newman Catholic Cardinal. Visit NewmanCatholicSchools.com to learn more.
WXCO 1230 AM, W255DN Wausau, streaming at bullfallsradio.com.
You're first.
And welcome back. It is Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO, WXCO.FM, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. I remove myself from the room, and you keep talking. We have a microphone issue, so I'm sitting next to Ian for this segment for the 10-game challenge, as we always bring in one of Sully's outstanding supporters of Sully's College Football Page, both the website and the radio program. And this is another longtime supporter, isn't it?
Oh, well, Jimmy Cruzel, known Jim for many, many years. And, when we started this all those years ago, Cruz got in, and, but I could never get him to come on. He just wouldn't do it. Well, then, I was in the bar one day, and, Ian and I started talking. And, the guy's a big college football guy. So I said, hey, would you consider doing this? And absolutely. And he's been here now. This is third or fourth time, right?
I believe it's the fourth time. Yeah. It's always exciting to be back.
Yeah. Well, we're thrilled to have you. And I always want to mention, Ian, that we're privileged to be able to share about $1,200 with charitable organizations in our community. And none of that happens without support from Intermission and our other sponsors. And we're going to Children's Miracle Network. We're going to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. We go to Humane Society, the Women's Community, Hager House. So all those things really are great things, that we are able to be able to share because of what you and other sponsors do. So we are very thankful for that. And, with that, we want to talk a little bit today as we go through the games about what goes on at intermission.
And Ian, first of all, welcome. Glad to have you back to Challenge Sully. But yeah, before we get into the 10 games, tell us a little bit about what you do there, and tell us about intermission generally.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to be back, like I said before, and it's great to be able to partner with another good local business like Bull Falls Radio and the local folks doing the work like you folks. That's what keeps these communities strong. So I always appreciate the chance to be a part of it. Intermission, things are going really well. We have an exciting lineup of live music going down from now out till Christmas. Almost every weekend is booked with stuff. We've got genres all over the place, so we've got a little something for everybody. We've got bluegrass, we've got blues, rock and roll. So there's something for everybody down there. The big event that we have coming up tonight, actually, that I wanted to highlight, we're very fortunate and lucky. We were able to partner with the women's community this year. And so we're hosting their Get Loud event, which raises money and awareness for domestic violence. So we've got our friends in Through Crimson there tonight. They'll be playing from 9 to midnight, some rock and roll. There'll be raffles, giveaways, prizes, a lot of people coming down to support a good cause. So I hope everybody who's listening to make that part of their plans for this evening. Starts at 9 o'clock at night.
Perfect way to spend a Saturday night. And again, that's wonderful to join up with the women's community for an event like that. Great way to start off the 10-game challenge. Shall we get into the games?
Let's do it.
You guys ready? All right, a good slate of action here to talk about. And the first one is a Battle of Texas, and a really interesting game. You got Houston and Texas Tech. You have Sully's old favorite from Tulane.
Oh, yeah, Willie Fritz and Joey McGuire.
And,
these are great coaches.
I don't know. This is a tough one for you because you have two of these coaches that you've been talking about for years that you like. But Houston and Texas Tech. But we start off with our guest. And Ian, who do you like?
I really think this is going to be a great game today, but for me, it comes down to the Cougars struggle a little bit on offense. They go 3 and out about 39% of the time, which is high. And I think a good Texas Tech team is going to be able to capitalize on that. I think it's going to be an exciting game, but I think Tech is going to get the win.
You know, I got to tell you, both these teams right now are unbeaten. And these are two Texas guys. You know, I mean, they're both kind of evolved there. And there'll be no separation here. And I'm with you. I think Texas Tech, they got all that oil money, and they are, you know, right at the top of the NIL and the portal. They are bringing in high quality players. And, you know, I just think their roster is a little better than Willie's over at Houston.
Our second game is Cincinnati and Iowa State. And Iowa State, boy, they're having a terrific season. But Cincinnati's bounced back pretty well this year. It's a better season for the Bearcats. So Cincy and Iowa State, and Sully, we'll start with you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's Scott Satterfield, who's a very good coach. He was at Louisville, and I think he kind of thought they wanted him out so they could get Jeff Brom in. And so he wasn't too happy about that. So away he went to Cincy. That said, Matty Campbell at Iowa State, I think, has done a great job. I was surprised, Ian, that they're not favored in this game. Cincy is. Yeah. But I'm not, as Chad knows, I like to get with coaches and then stick with them. So I'm going to say Iowa State finds a way on the road against Cincy.
So this will be the first one we probably disagree a little bit on. I know it's going to be a close game, and there's a lot to love about Iowa State, but I think Cincy's going to do just enough to get by. But I think it could go either way for sure.
Yeah, well, that's a good pick. You know, the only game they've lost this year was by 3 points the opening of the season against Nebraska, which is a very difficult place to win.
Oh, 100%.
Third game is from the Atlantic Coast Conference, or I call it the All Coast Conference, now with the West Coast being part of it. Louisville and Virginia. And of course, Virginia coming off their biggest win in a very long time as they were able to beat previously undefeated Florida State. But Louisville and Virginia. And Ian, you're up first.
I think Virginia's been a pleasant surprise this year. I think they've done more than a lot of people thought they were going to do. But I think coming off of a big win like they had last week, this is a prime spot for a Louisville team that's had success in the past to take advantage. I think it's a little bit of a letdown spot for Virginia, and I'm going to go with Louisville.
Yeah, you know, and I'm with you. And I am going to go with Jeff Brom here. You know, the coach at Virginia at the start of the season, that's Tony Elliott. He was the big kind of OC with Dabo at Clemson and had struggled at Virginia. But I'll tell you, last week, them beating Florida State was a fun game to watch. But I think Jeff Brom at home and Louisville are going to get this done.
Fourth game is Notre Dame and Boise State. And with all the green that you're wearing, Sully, if people are watching on YouTube, they see all the green, even a green Wisconsin hat. I mean, you're going all the way with it.
There's no coincidence this was going to be Sully's pick first. No coincidence.
Yeah, with Notre Dame at home against Boise State, and Sully, let's make it official.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know.
Wait a second, though. Was it last week you picked against Notre Dame, and it led to the firing of your favorite guy in Sammy Pittman of Arkansas?
I have to tell you, Ian, I went to confession 4 times this week. You know, I really thought last week that Notre Dame was up against it. I thought Arkansas had played Ole Miss too, though. You know, they just, you know, a game that they had lost to, was it Memphis, I believe.
Yep.
They were up 28-10. I mean, they looked like they were on the verge. And man, what Notre Dame did to them was, I mean, it was harmful. So I have mended my ways here. I'm got the green going. So yeah, I'm going with Notre Dame against Boise.
And Ian?
I looked at this every way I could because I knew which direction Sully was going to go on it to see if I could come up with a path for an opposing pick, but I can't. Notre Dame absolutely has to keep winning at this point in time if they want to continue to stand out from the rest of the pack. And all respect to a Boise State team that's done a lot of good things in the past, but Notre Dame is rolling at this point, and I would be shocked if they didn't win today, honestly.
Yeah. Fifth game is Maryland and Washington. Again, a very interesting, intriguing Big Ten matchup. Teams combined for only 1 loss so far this year. A game being played in College Park. Washington making that long trek across the country. And Ian, you're up first.
You know, I obviously there's a certain amount of recency bias given what Maryland has done recently to teams that are near and dear to our hearts. But I do like what Maryland has built so far. Washington, I think, has still struggled to find its really identity and footing in the Big Ten sometimes. So I'm going to take Maryland here. I think they're going to keep the winning train going.
You know, I got to tell you, this one I kind of went back and forth on in that, Washington had won 22 straight at home. And then, last week comes Ohio State and that went away. And this is a desperate game, Ian, for Maryland. This is an opportunity from last year, which was pretty much a disaster for Mike Loxley's program. They're 4-0. And they've got a chance at home to make a statement. So I think the cards are aligned, the stars are aligned, that I'm with you. Maryland is going to find a way against Washington, even though I think Washington's roster is a little better.
We're halfway through the 10-game challenge here on Sully's college football page. And again, Ian joining us from the intermission. Before we continue, Ian, anything you want to add about what's going on at the intermission?
Honestly, the big thing for us is we're just, we're trying to build that community and increase our reach in the community. We didn't have a lot of social media for a long time due to Chinese hackers or whatever else was going on with it. But we are back on Facebook. So just if people want to take a moment to go like and follow the Intermission Bar on Facebook and then stop by and check us out. We do open mics on Monday nights. We've got a jam session on Wednesday nights with some local musicians that starts at 8 o'clock. And then typically Friday and Saturday nights, we'll have live music, as well as keeping all the games on as much as we can for college football and the NFL on Sundays. So whether you're into sports, music, or just hanging out, we're a great place to be.
And you have a great owner in Jimmy Cruz, and Chad, I think I've mentioned this to you, his claim to fame, he played 1 year with the Washington Generals, and he blocked Meadowlark Lemon's shot. And Cruz said at halftime, one of the guys that worked with the Trotters came in. They were giving him some refreshment at halftime. And the guy said, "Hey, Cruz, Meadowlark said to tell you that was a great block." Cruz said, he didn't see me. Cruz minimized it. And he also told me, if you do that again, you're going to be looking for work.
Very cool indeed. Let's jump into our next game, and it's another really interesting game. Texas A&M and Mississippi State. Boy, Mississippi State 4-1, and that was a heartbreaker to Tennessee in overtime. Texas A&M still undefeated. So again, you talk about the SEC. I mean, they just have so many good teams, and this is a great matchup. Sully, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I call this the maroon game because that's all you see in this game is maroon. And really an interesting game here. I like A&M. I think Mike Elko is going to continue this, down this path. They were a game from being in the SEC championship a year ago when they lost, which I'm sure was much more painful when they lost to Texas. But anyway, in this game, Ian, I'm going to stay with Elko and A&M.
I think with especially the money and the prestige that's in the A&M program and the high standards that they have and the high expectations. I mean, this is a program that has to continue to win and break through if they want to justify the investment. So I'm with A&M as well. I think it's going to be a fun game.
Another SEC game has Alabama. They wish they were playing Georgia again, but no, it's Alabama and Vanderbilt, another team that has really stepped forward from the depths of the SEC to become a very competitive football program. This time, Ian, who's your pick?
Reports of Alabama's demise always seem to be exaggerated. And obviously this is a huge revenge game for them after the Vanderbilt victory last year. That being said, Diego Pavia, if I'm pronouncing the last name correctly, has a 75% completion rate currently. Vanderbilt is playing hot. Alabama looks like they could be vulnerable in certain spots. So even though the safe money is Alabama, we're here to take some risks. I'm taking Vanderbilt. I want to see them do it.
Okay.
Oh,
well, Pavia has, not been shy about letting people know that they're going to make the entire state of Tennessee forget about Tennessee. He said that this summer. And he also proclaimed Vandy as the Alabama state champion because they also beat Auburn last year.
Yes.
So to say that he has Alabama's attention would be pretty much of one of the great understatements we're going to make all year on the show. So I'm with you. I think Alabama has had enough of Vandy for at least a time.
Florida and Texas, and I know that Sully's another one of your coaches is Billy Napier, and he's in that Sam Pittman boat. He better start to win some football games, or else he may be playing some golf with Sam Pittman pretty soon. But Texas, Arch Manning had a better performance. Got into a little trouble with his parents apparently for standing over a player after scoring a touchdown and trying to get a little frustration out. But Texas and Florida. And Sully, you're up first.
Well, I know Florida's not having a great year, and I've always been high on Billy Napier. Watched him at Louisiana. I just think he's a really good coach, and he's always had good defenses. So today, I am really interested to see how Texas quarterback, how Archie does with with this Florida defense. That said, I still think Texas is going to find a way in this game, and they're going to get it done.
I share your opinion on that. I think that Florida can do a lot of really good things, but I think there's just more. I think Texas just has more resources, and that's going to wear them down over the course of the game.
I agree. And Texas's defense is really going to make things difficult for Florida though.
Up next, our ninth game is from the Big 12. You got TCU and Colorado. Not hearing as much from Coach Prime these days, are we? But TCU and Colorado. And Ian, you're up first.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of hype that's off of the Colorado program that we could argue whether or not it needed to be there in the first place. I think they have a lot of guys that are working hard and trying to get better, but I think TCU is going to make it happen today.
Yeah, and we all wish Deion a speedy recovery. He's fighting with some cancer.
Absolutely.
And that said, I think that they lost so much of their star power a year ago. The thing about, Coach Saunders is he puts people in seats. Jackson State, when he was there, they were averaging 42,000. That's more than a lot of the Big Ten schools, but it won't matter. TCU, solid program, to good. And, look for them to find a way in this game. They're at home, and they're going to get Colorado.
Turns out it's not easy to replace Travis Hunter.
No, he's
in many ways.
Player.
And then finally, boy, you talk about blast from the past. This used to be the game.
Right?
Yeah, and Bobby Bowden, how many national championships might he have had if he had the kicker? But Florida State and Miami, and the Hurricanes and the Seminoles. 10th and final game, and we start with Sully.
Yeah, we put this last. We think this is the day's best game. It's going to be interesting to watch. All these kids know each other. They're all Florida guys. And that rush that Miami brings, Bain and company from the outside, they can raise Hades with you. I think Florida State at home today finds a way against them, which is bad for the Irish. So I hate to say that because you want Miami to keep winning, but nonetheless, I'm gonna kind of take the Florida State and Mike Norvell's group in this game.
Ian, what's your final pick?
This was a battle of the head and the heart a little bit, but I'm with Sully. I'm going to ride with FSU. I think they can do it.
Very, very good. So those are 10 very interesting games, I have to say. That's really a good group of games to keep an eye on here tonight. Ian, before we wrap it up, any final thoughts? Anything you want to add before we close the door on a third edition of your visit to the 10-game challenge?
Each time is more fun than the last, gentlemen. Honestly, it's a lot of fun to be here, and I appreciate you having me. Thank you for supporting what we do at the Mission. Thanks for letting us support what you guys are doing here.
Well, you've been a very good addition to the show. And, anytime we can help a cruise, it's a humanitarian thing to do. So we're always good about that.
They say he needs all the help he can get.
Hey, that's what they say about Sully, too, though.
That's why they've been such friends for so long.
That's what Cruz says.
People helping people.
There you go. Great way to wrap it up. Ian, again, thanks for joining us. Hopefully get you back again real soon.
Can't wait. Thanks, guys.
We're going to take a time out, come back with more rankings from the Group of Five. That's coming up next here on Sully's College Football page on WXCO.
Where did the good old days go? From going to the old A&W drive-in to cruising the strip in town, all things change, some things stay consistent. For almost 75 years, Redant Insurance in Rib Mountain has been providing quality service to its customers. One of the oldest agencies in the area. Your family and neighbors come here, now it's your turn. Call 715-845-9204. Click redantinsurance.com or stop by 227501 Rib Mountain Drive. Redant Insurance Agency, our family helping yours.
Tommy's Express Car Wash at 102 Bridge Street in Wausau and 1611 Schofield Avenue in Weston has the tools and experience to keep your car clean inside and out. Our wash packages let you pay for the services you want, including Tommy Garden Body Wax, wheel cleaning and tire gloss, an underbody flush and spot-free rinse. Give your vehicle the cleaning it deserves at Tommy's Express at 102 Bridge Street in Wausau and 1611 Schofield Avenue in Weston.
Kemp Service Center was established in 1951 and to this day is still family owned. That's 70 years of serving the Wausau area with the best in auto and truck repair. Kemp's certified mechanics service all makes and models, including imports. Don't wait to the last minute to get your oil changed. Kemp's can get the job done in no time. Kemp's Service Center is open Monday through Saturday at the corner of North 6th Street and East Wausau Avenue in Wausau.
You don't have to choose between personal, hometown service, and the latest banking technology. Brokaw Credit Union has it all. Whether you're looking to finance your first home, grow your savings, or get a new set of wheels, we're here to help. Check us out at brokawcu.com. It's hard to find great Italian food in Wausau unless you're familiar with Carmelo's Italian Restaurant. Established in 1986 by the Oliva family, 3 generations still strive to provide a family atmosphere and fine dining experience. Carmelo's is proud to serve authentic Italian made with fresh ingredients. Their recipes have been handed down from generation to generation. Reservations are recommended Tuesdays through Sundays, and they are closed on Mondays. Carmelo's Italian Restaurant, located at the base of Granite Peak on North Mountain Road, Wausau. Check them out at carmelositalian.com.
It is Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO. Again, don't forget, check out Sully's College Football Page.com today and throughout the course of the week. So much great information there on all these teams. Well over, 300 teams that you keep an eye on?
If you're talking, Chad, the number of teams on the site, now we're approaching 500.
Oh, 500, geez.
Because of the NAIA.
Yeah, the cross-pollination, right?
Yeah, when the FCS plays down. So there's 266 teams in the FCS and the FBS, 136 in the FBS, 130 in the FCS, and then well over 100 in the Division II, and then approaching 100 when you consider NAIA Division III and such.
Well, let's talk about the group of 5, and we have the top 20 from Sully's College Football Page. Number 20, Louisiana Monroe, ULM, as we like to call them, 3-1 as they get set for their game against Northwestern. New Mexico, number 19, led by the future Badger coach, as I predicted. They had a interstate win last week. Number 18, James Madison. And number 17, Ohio U, the Bobcats from the MAC.
And that's Jason Eck, right?
Jason Eck, exactly. Yes. Next coach of the Badgers.
Okay. Well, Jason had a tough one last night. They got beat 35-28, and it's not coming to
San
me.
Jose?
There
States?
you go. Yep. And so a very good game. If it was, I know they got beat because I was feeling your pain when I saw that.
Well, this lowers the price for the Badgers a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's still doing a good job so far this season.
Hey, I'll tell you, when Jerry Kill went to New Mexico State, that changed it. And now Jason Eck is kind of doing the same thing at the university as opposed to what Jerry did at New Mexico State.
Number 16, Utah State. They fell to Vandy last week. They are 3-2. Delaware, of course, with those Michigan-like helmets. Number 15, Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers from Conference USA is number 14. And Texas State, again, so many Texas teams, whether it's the FCS, whether it's the Group of Five, whether it's the Power Four, we get these Texas teams. Texas State, number 13.
Well, a couple things quickly. The simulator predicted that Western Kentucky would beat Delaware. They played last night, and the boys and girls were wrong. They had Delaware picked as favored. Texas, or excuse me.
So the simulator was right.
Simulator was right.
I got to start saying better things about the simulator. Because it seems like it's on a bit of a roll here.
Oh, but it picked Boise State over Notre Dame, so I am confident it's wrong about that. But the Texas State, it is one, Chad, of 13 Division I football. Now the FCS or FBS, not,
Right. So, and many of those teams are good teams too. And that's the thing. I mean, it's really crazy how many good programs there are in the state of Texas. Talk about the MAC. They continue to have teams. Number 12, Toledo. They had a 1-point loss to Western Michigan. They'll take on Akron. Again, a lot of those Ohio schools within that part of the country in that conference. Fresno State doing a nice job this season. Fresno State 4-1. Number 10, San Diego State. Mentioned them earlier. They're having a big bounce back year. They've already matched their win total from last year. San Diego State, and Tulane is number 9.
And San Diego State beat Colorado State.
So they have more wins than they had last year.
Yes, they're getting there.
And they should.
And Fresno, that was Pat Hill. Remember, anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Right.
And they continued to just keep winning games. And Toledo, they are without question the fastest moving team in the MAC. And they lost the game kind of inexplicably to Western Michigan. I don't know how that happened. But nonetheless, they righted the ship, and look for them to make some noise in the MAC.
Boise State, number 8. They beat App State last week. As we talked about, they are at Notre Dame, and the simulator must have been hitting the booze a little bit here. 7-1, Boise State. Louisiana Tech, number 7. They're 4-1. Old Dominion, number 6. Old Dominion having a very nice year, beating Liberty. And Navy continues to do Navy things. Boy, they just are outstanding. They're undefeated. They have the Air Force Academy and that big matchup. But that's actually a national TV CBS game coming up at 11 o'clock. So Boise State 8, Louisiana Tech 7, Old Dominion 6, and Navy 5.
And all these teams are capable teams, and they're all fun to watch. And it is exactly why we do what we do here with the Group of 5. Navy is one of the hardest teams in the country to defend, especially when they got a high caliber quarterback like this Hava kid. So look for them to make some noise in the American. I know everybody's talking about Memphis and me Tulane, but Navy is going to have something to say here as we go forward.
Number 4, UNLV. Dan Mullen's return to coaching has been a very successful one to begin with at Las Vegas. North Texas is number 3. They're undefeated. South Florida 3-1, but perhaps no team in this ranking has played a tougher schedule up to this point. Number 2, and then number 1, you do have Memphis undefeated at 5-0.
Yeah, you gotta like Memphis. What they did in that Arkansas game, they kept playing when they were down, and they just find ways to win. North Texas is one of the surprise teams this year. They're still unbeaten. South Florida, of course, we know what they did. Their only loss was to a very good Miami team, and they beat Florida.
And Boise.
So, and Boise, very good. And then UNLV not winning as impressively as these other teams. But Chad, to your point, they're winning.
Bottom line, got to win those football games.
Yep.
So that is the Group of 5 top 20. And again, for more information to see the matchups, take a look at the simulator, go to Sully's collegefootballpage.com. We're going to take a timeout and then talk about the top 25, the Power 4, and boy, a lot of interesting games. See what kind of mixing up it's been in the past week or so. So we'll do that coming up next here on Sully's College Football Page on 98.9 WXCO.
The Mint Cafe, serving old-fashioned American comfort food in a cozy atmosphere. Whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, your choice is the Mint Cafe. Call ahead for carryouts, deliveries to downtown Wausau, and catering is also available. Check them out at mintcafewausau.com.
Looking for a part for your vehicle? Look to Hilltop Auto Wrecking in Wausau. Hilltop Auto Wrecking can help you find just about any part you need for your car, truck, or SUV. They have a great selection of auto glass and tires with lots of sizes ready to go. Hilltop Auto Wrecking is always looking to buy vehicles, so if you're stuck with an older junker, they can haul it away for cash. Hilltop Auto Wrecking, family owned and operated for over 40 years at 237-934 Del Rio Road, formerly 6806 North 33rd Street, Wausau. Call 715-675-3258. Are you looking to furnish a new home, apartment, or cabin? Are you looking for quality clothing at a reasonable price? Well, if you are, be sure to stop at St. Vincent de Paul at 131 West Thomas Street in Wausau. Make them your first stop, your one-stop shop for furniture, clothing, accessories, home products, and much more. And remember, St. Vincent de Paul in Wausau is more than just a thrift store. It's a local ministry meeting the needs of our community. Your purchases benefit those in need right here at home. So shop St. Vincent de Paul at 131 West Thomas Street in Wausau, where your purchases benefit your neighbors.
Since 1997, Mountain Bay Auto Care has been serving Central Wisconsin with top quality and affordable car repair and service. With ASE certified mechanics, stop by 5702 Stella Avenue in Schofield or call 715-355-8646.
The warmth of your home is about making memories with family and friends and enjoying life celebrations. At Menzner Hardwoods of Marathon, they understand the importance of bringing warmth to a place you call home. For over a century, their fifth-generation family business has been creating beautiful woodwork for the home and office, just as they have for over 130 years. Menzner Hardwoods looks forward to providing you with elegant wood products to enhance the beauty of your home or office. Visit them at menznerhardwoods.com. Menzner Hardwoods, timeless beauty for your home or office.
The Eat Fresh Refresh doesn't stop at your local Wausau Subways. When the urge hits, make sure to stop by any of the 4 Wausau Subway locations at 1609 Merrill Avenue, 330 East Bridge Street, 1819 West Stewart Avenue, and 4300 Rib Mountain Drive in Walmart. Catering, remote ordering, curbside pickup, and Subway delivery all available. And make sure to use the Subway app when you need Subway. Subway with 4 Wausau locations.
Buck's Golf Shop for all of your golfing needs. Located at 903 Grand Avenue, Suite C8, Rothschild, Wisconsin, 54474 in the Bushka & Bushka Insurance Building on the east side. Specializing in Badger, Bucks, Brewer, and Hacker golf-related items. Green Tag sale is 30% off the retail price. Call 715-581-2646 or email wellsgolf@pcpros.net.
At People's State Bank, we think checking accounts are like SUVs. That's why we offer more features to fuel your lifestyle. The best part? You can open an account without leaving your driveway. Just visit bankpeoples.com today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Who is this, Sully? Who's this song? Name that tune.
Is that Penn State?
Ian, who is it? Ian, I don't hear you.
It's actually Ohio State.
Oh, sure.
I'll forgive you because who needs an Ohio State?
Well, you know, that's not Across the Field. That's the song I associate with them.
Sully's college football page, 98.9 WXCO. Also on YouTube as well, youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel. Time for the Power 4 Top 25.
Here we go.
And real quickly, again, just for folks, how do you come up with your top 25? Because this is not a regurgitation of the national polls. This is your top 25 of the Power 4. How do you do it?
Well, first of all, there is so much confusion on the criteria that people use. That is the question to the heart of it. We always try to look at it as a win-loss ranking as opposed to a power rating. Notre Dame is not ranked. If we were doing a power rating, they would be, because their roster is very good. But right now, they're in terms of a win-loss ranking, in my opinion, they don't belong. So we look at who is playing well, who has won lately, who is doing what. And Chad, we know that there are certain teams, like with Presbyterian, and our FCS. We know that there are teams that are below them that would more than likely beat them because they're non-scholarship program. And there are teams here, but what we're doing here is who's playing well.
Let me ask you real fast. Back in the old days, the national champions were determined by the rankings.
Yes.
Now they're determined in a playoff. If it was your top 25 determine the national champion, would it be different than what you do knowing there's a playoff?
Significantly different. Yeah.
I thought it would be.
Because here what we look at is who's playing well.
Mm-hmm.
We have probably had, we're in week 6 or 7, counting our preseason, and I would say we've had 5 different number ones, and people are moving in and out. Although I would say to you, it's been pretty consistent with the top 10. I'd say 6 of them have been there the entire time.
All right, let's go into it. Number 25 is Maryland for the Big Ten. Also, number 25 is Utah. You have two at number 25. Them, then you have number 24, Arizona State, and number 23, Illinois. And fortunately for them, they got that win, or else they would have been out. But those are at the bottom of the top 25.
That was a big win for Illinois. Arizona State won a huge game against TCU. That was a big win for them. West Virginia, Rich Rod, I'm sorry to say, he doesn't got things in place yet, and he's taken some pretty good
bounce back for Utah after that Texas Tech debacle.
Yes, and Texas Tech. I mean, that is an oil-laden, rich team, And then, of course, with what
Maryland.
actually is Maryland have done, we wanted to recognize them as well.
All right, number 22, Mississippi State. Boy, they had a chance to really make a statement, and they did. I mean, they played really well against Tennessee, but 4-1 now at number 22. Florida State took a big dive after losing in double overtime to Virginia, number 21. Virginia made a big move up to number 20 after that win, and number 19, Michigan, who had a bye week and now gets set for the Badgers in a few minutes.
Yeah, and you alluded to it, Jed. I know a lot of people here don't like the SEC, and they complain about them, and enjoy them. I mean,
enjoy good football, right?
It really is, and you look the week before that Tennessee game comes down to a kick and they miss it and it goes into overtime and then they get beat there. And then this next week or last week, Mississippi State and Tennessee have this great battle. And so, these games are just fun to watch. And now you've got, of course, A&M hooking up in what I call the maroon game, because when they joined the league, that's the first thing I thought of. You're going to see a lot of maroon in Mississippi.
Number 18, Georgia Tech. And boy, what a job Brent Key has done there since he took over as an interim, and then he just turned that baby around. Missouri, again, your guy, Eli Drinkwitz, is doing a job at number 17. Texas Tech, your guy, Mike Elko, is at number 16. And Vanderbilt, your guy, number 15. So a lot of Sully approved coaches in that group before.
Joey McGuire, I think, at Texas Tech is outstanding. Eli Drinkwitz is probably the best coach nobody talks about. I'm not the best coach.
Except for you.
So I do.
I think people do. I think people are realizing what he does.
Yeah, he
did it at App State before, right?
Yeah, he was there. He was at some place for just a short time, and then he left. And it might have been App State. I think you're right. And then, with what Clark Leah has done.
Yep.
My son Michael used to always say that Mike Elko is a better recruiter than Clark Leah. But Clark Leah is a better coach.
To do what he's doing at Vandy, know that people are going to be knocking on his door.
Yeah.
Hopefully he stays, actually. I hope that.
Me too. Let's get some stability back in the sport.
Number 14, LSU. And the offensive issues continue for Brian Kelly's team. I mean, frankly, holding Ole Miss to 24 points and is a good day, and they lost, so they're 14. Iowa State, another Sully approved coach, and Matt Campbell, number 13. Number 12, Tennessee, and number 11, Georgia. And man, oh man, Kirby has got to be just having a crimson nightmares after another loss to Alabama.
Well, that's 10 and 11 losses.
Which is unbelievable.
When I tell people that, when it was like, they had lost 6 or 7, then it was 7 of 8, then it was, and the reality here is Alabama. Everybody knows this down there. Georgia was at home last week, and I'm sorry to say I picked Georgia. I thought they're going to get it right this time. But I'll tell you, Ty Simpson the quarterback for Alabama, I'll tell you, he was unbelievable in the game. He was taking the game clock. There's 85,000 people in there screaming at him. He made virtually no errors and seemed complete control in that game. So I'll tell you, they're going to be a difficult out the rest of the way with the way he's playing.
So that's up to number 11. We're going to take a final timeout for our program today and then come back and delve into the top 10, really dig in and get you ready for kickoff of another big college football Saturday. It is Sully's college football page on 98.9 WXCO.
Crab River Golf Course in Wausau is a unique 18-hole public course. The relaxed atmosphere and breathtaking Northwood scenery is sure to make your golfing day a satisfying experience. For membership information and tee times, call Crab River Golf Course at 715-675-3044.
France Propane at 1153 Foundry Street in Schofield is a local family-owned complete service company serving central Wisconsin for over 2 generations. France Propane is a value-driven company whose goal every day is to provide excellent service, maintain the highest safety, reliability in customer care, and competitive pricing. France Propane, service first, safety always. Check out France Propane at francepropane.com. For over 30 years, Webco has worked with corporations, schools, organizations on their apparel and promotional needs. Webco can handle small quantities to orders in the thousands with a fast turnaround. Webco of Wausau, 1405 West Thomas Street.
It's almost Halloween, and Wausau Dance Theater's Thriller, a dance spectacular, is back to thrill audiences once again. Join us Saturday, October 18th at 1:30 and 7 p.m. at the UWSP at Wausau James F. Benega Theater. Come see ghosts, mummies, vampires, and more. Bring the whole family, wear your costumes, and get ready for a frightfully fun performance that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Tickets and info at the Central Wisconsin School of Ballet. Call 715-842-3606 today.
North End Pub. Cold beer, clever conversation. All stories cross-referenced for validity. If you're looking for a nice spot to hang with friends, North End Pub will do the trick. Stop in for thirst relief today. North End Pub, North 3rd Avenue, Wausau.
Big Fat Designs can give your company the cutting-edge look it needs to attract customers and stand out from the rest. From websites and print designs to logos and letterheads, Big Fat Designs is your effective and affordable marketing solution. E-commerce, online customer database, video and audio players, Big Fat Designs does it all. And the best part, you deal with someone locally to talk with, to meet with, working hands-on towards your success. Big Fat Designs in Wausau. Find out more online at bigfatdesigns.com.
Witness the difference at Newman Catholic Schools, where education is embraced by the Christian faith and students are held to a high standard of academic excellence. Schedule a tour and learn what it means to be a Newman Catholic Cardinal. Visit newmancatholicschools.com to learn more.
It is Sully's college football page on 98.9 WXCO. Along with Sully, I'm Chad Holmes, and now as we finish off the final segment, it's about talking about the best teams in college football.
I got to tell you, Chad, this is the fastest 2 hours I live. It seems like we walk in at about 8:45, and then you look up and it's past 11:15. Just flies.
Well, let's start with number 10, Indiana. Again, we talked a little bit earlier. That was a different kind of win than we've seen the last year plus from Kurt Signetti and his team. There was one of those Big Ten battles on the road at Iowa. And Indiana, I thought, again, that may be one of the most, if not the most impressive win they've had.
I'll tell you, it was showing that they're capable of playing in a different kind of game, where it's not kind of up and down, or where they're scoring points and scrambling a little bit on defense. This game was a fist fight, and they were in with a professional fist fighter in Iowa, because that's how they play. So a big win, especially in that it was a different kind of win that Iowa showed, we can play in this kind of game and win as well.
Number 9, Texas, and they're kind of hanging around. I mean, they lost that game to Ohio State because they were up there being talked about as either 1 or 2 in the country. They lose the game, and now it's like it's given maybe Arch Manning time to settle in. It looks like he is getting better as the season goes on, but this is still a very dangerous team, isn't it?
Yeah, and people are now there's a lot of animosity aimed at Arch Manning.
It's called the old, what do you call it? When somebody, continue out.
Kind of like the accountability pill, they want to hold
backlash, the backlash, because a lot of folks you have, and all of a sudden it's like, well, everybody gives him he doesn't ask in a lot of ways for all the attention. But then it's like, oh, that's too much. There's a fickleness of the media and the public.
And some of the announcers have been saying he was given all this because he's a Manning. Yeah, well, we knew that already.
he's been a Manning from the beginning.
And then there's been almost an anger, aimed at him. How was he involved? He never said, hey, you need to talk about me every 8 minutes. He never said anything like that. They did that. And now they're saying, well, he's not as good as we thought. Well, we don't know how good he is yet.
The quick judgments is not a good way of evaluating talent, is it?
No, it's not. I remember when Beano Cook said that Ronnie Paulus was going to win the Heisman 4 times.
Did not help his case, that's for sure.
No, he didn't win it.
Number 8, Alabama. I mean, they're on the move up again. And that team against Florida State looks like a different team than the one we've seen since then. They were really good against Wisconsin. They've been really good since then.
And the boys and girls in the desert picked Vandy. Vandy's favored in this game, if I'm reading it right.
No, Alabama's. Your simulator says
the
Vandy.
Simulator picked Vandy. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I really think, and yet I thought this last week about Georgia. I think Bama's going to start this game with the sense of urgency. I thought Penn State would. They lacked it. We'll see what DeBoer can do with his guys if he can say, hey, we want to show them that this is how it is at Alabama, and this is all bad.
Number 7, Penn State. They take a dive after that overtime loss to Oregon. They'll try to get back on track at UCLA today. But as I said earlier, I mean, everybody goes crazy because, again, they lose one of these games. It's not like they got blown out of the water or anything like that. And everything that they play for is still there.
Of course.
So people that get so bent out of shape about, it's time to think about making a change, which is not happening because, again, in the buyout, people need to take a chill pill on Penn State because they're still as capable of winning a national championship as they were before last week, aren't they?
I mean, all you got to do if you're a Penn State fan is call up one of your buddies from Ohio State and ask them where they were at after the Michigan
which was
game.
Even later in the season.
Yeah. And then what happened? So you don't know yet. And they still have a great running game. And I think Drew Aller's a very good quarterback.
Number 6, Texas A&M. And boy, you talk about a slob knocker. They got past Auburn 16-10 last week. Mississippi State coming up today, but Texas A&M, a team that is finding ways to win every week. It's maybe not been, blowouts, but they're finding ways to beat good football teams.
Yeah, they are. And, the reality here is they will not be looking by Mississippi State. They understand what Jeff Lebby's done there. And the other thing, Chad, is they should be happy this game is at College Station because they may not want to go listen to all those cowbells.
Yep, that'll be a very interesting one. That'll be an SEC network game at 6:30 tonight. Number 5, Oklahoma. And Oklahoma undefeated. The big question mark right now is the quarterback, the injury, because they look so good. Boy, you lose a quarterback, though, that completely changes the perspective on it. That'll be the big question mark. And they will try to be as full strength as possible when they get to that big game against Texas coming up soon.
You know, and all those cigar chopping 10-gallon hat Texas oil guys are saying that John Mateer will be ready for Texas. He's going to be ready to roll. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Number 4 is Mississippi. They had that big win. I mean, you know, Lane Kiffin, he's done quite a job. When you think about it, because you go back to when he was at Tennessee, and you know he wasn't there that long, and then he basically burnt down the house when he left for USC. You would think he's not coming back to the South anytime. But it didn't work at USC, so he goes back SEC, a tougher job at Mississippi. And he has done the job, and they're number 4 in the country.
You know, and there's a lot of talk about him going to Florida. You know, that he is on his way to Florida. You know, I just question this guy's maturity. You know, he's always doing things that I think do not allow him to get to the potential, given his skill sets as play caller and some of the other things he's able to do. So I'm anxious to see, as this push comes to shove, how he does.
And the thing about it, though, I would push back a little bit. I don't think you can say that he hasn't reached his potential when you have a team like Mississippi in the top 5 in the country.
Well, I'm saying that if his maturity level was a little better, he would have been doing this earlier.
Oh, I see.
And you know, we'll see.
And the SC thing would have been better.
Yes, you know, I mean. He ran back to SEC and he got fired on the tarmac, you know, and you know his buddy at Oakland, you know, didn't have a lot good to say.
Yeah, that's very true. Number 3, Ohio State. I mean, again, defensively, this Ohio State team looks as good as anybody.
And their quarterback, you know, is only going to get better. He's going to keep developing. Their running game will get better. We already know they have the best receiver core in the country. And Chad, you hit on it. Their defense is now stepped up to where it is, if it's not already, it is on its way to becoming elite.
Number 2, Miami, still undefeated. Hasn't been totally easy for Miami, but they keep on winning. They have Florida State on the road coming up tonight on ABC.
And that's another game where the simulator likes Florida State and Miami's favored in the game. This should be the day's best game.
Then let me ask you real quickly. Miami ahead of Ohio State. I would argue that I would have Ohio State ahead of Miami. Why do you have Miami ahead of Ohio State?
I thought about that, and I talked to a couple of guys and at this point, we just think Miami has some better wins than Ohio.
Let me ask you a different perspective. If they played, who would you pick?
If Miami played Ohio State
this
week,
week.
Well,
I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, they're not. I think that I like Miami at quarterback, and as good as Ohio State has been defensively, Miami's D line might be better, at least on the perimeter. You know, those guys coming off the edge. So I would say, you know, for the next couple of weeks, I would take I would take Miami, but as we get closer to the season's end, and the quarterback has had more time to develop at Ohio State. The running game continues to develop. I think as we get into the playoffs, I think it's Ohio State that would be favored against Miami.
And no surprise, because they've earned it on the field. Number 1, Oregon.
Who has a better win than them? They went to Happy Valley. There's 110,000 people there. You know that Penn State is seeing this as the Holy Grail. I mean, they want this, and Oregon beat them.
Yep.
They went in there and found a way, and built the lead, and then Penn State came crashing back and scored first in the overtime. But
That's pressure.
Yes, it was, and they found a way. So they are right where, in my opinion, right where they should be, at the top of the heap here with that win.
So that is the top 25 for the Power Four. And again, you can get all the information on these teams and a whole bunch more from 500 teams by going to Sully's collegefootballpage.com. Well, we are just minutes away from the kickoff of the Wisconsin Badgers and the Michigan Wolverines. We need some just optimism for the Badgers. It just feels like there's been so much negativity around this program, and I feel for Fickle. I mean, when you have this spiral downward, it's just hard to turn this ship around, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've been snake bit a little bit with bringing in the quarterbacks.
Being hurt.
Yeah, and then they lose those guys. And you and I have said it, and if we're talking about it, he's living it. He needs to get a quarterback in his program from high school that he can develop, and then he's going to need time.
Well, that's the problem, though. I don't know if there's a lot of people are willing to give Luke Fickell a lot of time right now. I mean, it's really starting to get a little toxic with the fan base.
Yeah, it is, and it's something that's noticed nationally that people are talking about.
And that makes it harder to recruit. I mean, it really is a trickle-down effect, isn't it?
Yeah, and they kind of had an identity that they could recruit to. Yeah, you've mentioned it, and I can't answer it. What is their identity now?
I know.
Are we gonna be a two either side, or are we gonna go back to play with a couple tight ends and a fullback?
Enjoy that game. Enjoy all the other games. Enjoy your Irish against Boise, which is a really good matchup, and we'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Chad. Always enjoy this.
That's Sully's college football page on 98.9 WXCO.
WXCO 1230 AM, W255DN Wausau, streaming at bullfallsradio.com.